What's that?
Yeah, we will start shortly, but I'm just trying to get everyone admitted. As we start, I'll be looking at the chat as well. So I should have the first. Yeah. I'll still have your like email noted and things like that. So yeah. So hi everyone online. We'll be starting shortly. We have a few people in person as well. I also do want to note that I have the AI in the chat and starting the recording as well. And we'll have that available online afterwards. Again, because we are recording, if you don't want your voice to be posted online, please go on mute. And if you don't want your person to be online, please take yourself off camera. Thank you. I think we're almost starting, or should get started in a few minutes. I think we have everyone we need online, or everyone that signed up for online. So we're gonna get started. So this is our first renewal workshop. Thank you all for showing in person, and thank you all who are showing up online. And thanks so much to Monterey County Regional for letting us borrow this conference room.
Yeah, if I could just real quick. So
Yeah.
those of you who don't know me, most of your faces look familiar, but my name is David Sargent. I'm your fire chief here for the Monterey County Regional Fire District. I'm going to leave my cards here just in case you have any questions or concerns. First, thank you for being here, number one. I don't know if all of you are within the fire district, some may be out of it, but regardless, thank you for being here, being that leader in your community to continue to push the Firewise message. All my 29 years in the fire service, this is the one program that actually has worked when it comes to defensible space and having neighbors helping us. So we're in complete support of this. I know many of our fire-based communities within the fire district are going through their renewal process right now. And some of you may be new to that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We have resources here that can help. And I'm sure the Fire Safety Council is going to provide you some additional resources. Unfortunately, I have to jam out to another meeting in Chular regarding some Highway 101 project down there. So Thanks again. Bathrooms are in the hallway here. You guys know how to get in and out of the place. Enjoy the meeting, and again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Have fun.
All right, so let's get started. So thank you so much again for showing up today. Those of you online, thank you as well. So this is the first edition of our renewal workshop, and usually we hold our Firewise 101 sessions on every second Wednesday. I recognize some familiar faces. Good to see you offline. So let's get started. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. There we go. So I think I could disconnect this. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just so I can, sorry, man.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we're still working out some kinks too of being in person. But to get started, hopefully I see in the chat, it'd be helpful. Let's see if this works better. So just some housekeeping. If you're in person, please sign in. I see Pam has put around the sheet to sign in. Again, our monthly sessions are posted on YouTube, so we have a variety of them now. So we will still have kind of an Firewise office hours at the end. So if you have any specific questions, some community events that are coming up. So tomorrow I will be speaking alongside Emily Aiken and the UC Master Gardeners about Firewise landscaping. If you're interested in that, but that's at Pacific Grove. And next week we'll be having the second edition of Renewal workshop in the Castroville Library. And then we have our board meeting on Thursday. And this is a larger group, so please wait until the end for any questions or drop them in the chat if you are online. And if you would not like to be recorded, please turn off your camera. And again, during office hours, raise your hand or, put yourself off mute. And be mindful of everyone's time. We only really have about an hour. So we have this room until 7, so I'll stick around if there are any pending questions or pressing questions. So we'll be going over what is required of you every year, every 3 years, every 5 years. There's a great tutorial by Rainer Marks that I've included in this that we could watch as well. And then kind of a rundown of the steps. And then general FAQs that have come up in the past. So every year you're required to host an outreach event. You're required to track your risk reduction investments. That includes time, any money spent. So let's say you have a gardener come every 2 weeks. That could be documented as a monetary expense. At a minimum, every site is required an annual investment equivalent to 1 volunteer hour per dwelling unit. So if you have 100 homes within your Firewise community, you're expected to have 100 hours of work done or the equivalent. And that equivalent would be through the independent sector volunteer hour. So that also counts if you have, let's say, like a work day and you have volunteers working for that it is included within those 100 hours. There's also some examples that I've included that we can look at of what will count towards these investments. For example, like hosting that meeting or coordinating the wildfire related outreach events. So any time spent organizing those meetings, any time spent at other meetings as well. If you had a work day, if you had a chipping program, all of that counts within the scope of the renewal. There's also a volunteer hourly worksheet that you could use to hand out and include. And I know Bob had a great point in the last meeting that you could add here at the end any vegetation removed in the tons or per bag that was removed as well. Also, this is another point, sorry, that you don't have to wait until this time to save it. So let's say next year, you could just continue throughout the year saving your events or your investments throughout the portal. Let's get into every 3 years. So every 3 years, you have to update your action plan. So it'll say in the portal if your action plan is due for a renewal. So make sure to check your dashboard or your management dashboard. And if you didn't update it, let's say like this year, then I think it's a new action plan since 2023. So this is what it should look like now if you're having to update it this year.
And
Yeah.
Where are these accessible? Where are the forms? Where can people actually link to these forms?
Usually through the slides. Then I'll publish the slides and all the links should be live on that. If there's any issues, you can reach out.
From the NFPA website.
Yes, that's where I also found a lot of these. And now every 5 years, you'll have to update your community risk assessment. Again, make sure to check your portal and see if that's due for a renewal. If you need to fill out a new one, it is this template from the NFPA website. This is what these look like. And for reference, you could use the risk assessment Firewise 101 session to kind of guide you through that as well. We have slides associated with that as well. And if your community has grown or is looking to change its boundaries, you'll need to update the number of dwellings and submit a new boundary map if it's a substantial amount, let's say more than a smaller neighborhood or, cul-de-sac that you're adding. And this morning I got an email from a community member trying to change or subtract the board members' contacts that they have. So they've been having some issues. If there's more that come up, then I'll send an email to the NFPA team to see what the issue is, because from my understanding, you can add and change the board member contacts during the renewal period. So if that's not the case right now, we should double check to see. So again, the resident leader changes. It'll be through the managing contacts on the community dashboard. So this will allow the new resident leader to create their own personal login. And again, it's recommended that your Firewise community has its own associated email address, just so if there's a change in resident leaders, there's a change in the board, then it's easier to just have a separate entity so it doesn't carry along with, the person who is leaving the group. And you're also able to skip around during your renewal application using their drop-down menu, just so you don't have to do it all in one sitting. And this is the tutorial for the annual renewal here that we could view.
Hello, this is Brandon Marks, Program Manager, fired at the Big Sur, the Community Association Big Sur program. This Firewise USA annual renewal tutorial is an independent production. It is not an NFPA product. This information is current as of September 11, 2024. The subsequent changes to the Firewise program will not be reflected in this tutorial. This is intended for Firewise USA recognized communities who plan to submit an annual renewal application. The annual renewal uses the same NFPA portal and documents used for your initial application to become Firewise recognized. To begin, sign into the NFPA Firewise portal and select the button titled Start Renewal Application. This button is located below the name of your Firewise community. If your site contact address is changed, update it here. Otherwise, skip and select to continue up. If your site resident leaders or site details have changed, update them here. Otherwise, skip and select to continue up. Box and select to continue up. If the 3-year action plan from your original Firewise application use the California specific 3-year action plan template, you do not need to copy your term action plan over. This requirement to copy is only for Firewise applications that were submitted prior to the creation of the California specific 3-year action plan template. Updated risk assessments are due every.
Sorry, I think I'll have to pause this one just because the chat or the online version can't hear it. Let's see here if I could fix this. Sorry about that. I know it's available through here as well to send it out for people in the,
This is where, this is on.
this is through the, yeah, the fire adapted.
It's
Yes.
also on our website, the Fire State Council website.
Mhm. Yeah, so sorry about that. I should have worked out those kinks beforehand. But it is available through that link that I just sent in the chat and through the slides that I'll be publishing after this. And feel free to review it and look at and kind of use it as a guide for it. But basically, as we go along, these are sort of the steps that I took from Rainer's tutorial. So 1 through 3, you just want to go through your site contact information, fill it out as instructed, and then it'll take you to an overview. So update the information if needed or fill it out as instructed. And then you'll have to go through the state requirements. So basically just ensuring that you've done the California 3-year action plan, since that is specific to California. And then it'll take you to updating the risk assessment. If you do not need to update the risk assessment, then you just upload the one that you have on your portal. And then here's when you can update your board/committee. So review the contact information and make any corrections or updates as you need. And then you'll have to go into the action plan. So this is every 3 years. And if you don't need to update it, then just use the one that you've been using. But if you do, then upload the new one. And then this is the next step, which would be educational outreach. And this is where you will check the boxes to indicate what activities you've done, such as the annual outreach event. And here are some ideas that I kind of took from the South Bay Firewise Partners page for if you're updating your 3-year action plans. So we might run out of some ideas of what to do, what can be updated. We've already done 3 years. So here are some examples. So you can make a written evacuation plan or emergency communication agreement. We have a quarterly newsletter or website that you could publish. Fire Safe Council has a newsletter tutorial / and template that you could use. Encourage the use of Alert Monterey or the Know Your Zone. Sending community members to the CAL FIRE DSA training. Coordinate with the university cooperative extension for a prescribed burn or a pile burn. There's also this really cool training through the coalitions and collaboratives, which is a 10 to 12-week training, which is offered during January to September to learn about grants, community collaboration through wildfire. And also Zone 0 is coming, so encourage residents to consider fuel reductions in the first 5 feet around the home. So South Bay Partners had a really good conversation last week about the language used during the 3-year action plans. So I just want to highlight that Public Resource Code 4291 is in effect. So you should be having that defensible space. So instead of writing defensible space, consider writing maintaining fuels or fuels reduction, just to avoid that kickback in the application. And then step 8, this is where vegetation removal comes in. And this is where in the volunteer hours, you could add that note for people to fill in any vegetation that they've removed. And then in the comments, if you had a chipper program or work days that you did, this is where you can add specifics on that event. Then you want to record the risk reduction investment. You don't need to do it individually per every person or per every dwelling. You could do it all totaled as well if you have that. And this is where you'll record any financial or volunteer hours invested during the calendar year. So, but we did have a question on for recording in 2024 if you're acknowledged in 2024 and then renewing in 2025. If you do have that data available for 2024, then feel free to include it, but it isn't necessarily required. And then finally, just review and check that everything is up to date, and then you'll be able to submit. And now I want to get into some of the frequently asked questions. So the one I just mentioned, if a community was recognized during 2024 and their first renewal is this year in 2025, do they need to record the activities done in 2024 prior to the calendar year? So generally, yes, it is advised to record the activities after being acknowledged to include them in the following renewal in the next calendar year. But it mostly is if you meet those requirements, then you will get renewed anyway. So if it helps you boost those numbers, then yes, but not necessarily required. And then next one, how does the community know their action plan is up for an update? So it's just checking your management portal and checking. So for example, if your action plan starts in 2025, it'll then need to be renewed in the 2028 renewal period. And this one I pulled from the blog post NFPA posted, and I thought it was an interesting question that might come up. So it says, my Firewise community has reached the year 5 in 2025. Do I renew as in the past, or do you need to renew the program for another 5 years? So in the 5-year renewal, like after those 5 years, then it'll just be the risk assessment. But if you're expanding that and making your community bigger, then it might trigger like a new boundary map, a new action plan, etc. But you'll follow the same steps throughout the Firewise portal, and then update those supporting documents that you need in the 5-year mark. Now, and this is where, there's a question in the 5-year action completion checklist. What does the following question mean? Has a phased approach in the defensible space been avoided to maintain compliance? And from the conversation South Bay Firewise partners had, the CAL FIRE representative said that defensible space is mandatory at all times for buildings and structures within California's SRA. And that requirement is the Public Resource Code 4291. So if a community falls outside these land classifications, then the applicant should consult the fire authority for specifics. But a 3-year action plan should not have a phased-in approach for defensible space since it is law or state law. But you could have a heavier kind of hand in educating your homeowners on the importance of maintaining defensible space around their homes if they're not in compliance, since there might be a number of homes that aren't, but could still, be included in the Firewise application or renewal. And these are the resource summaries used to develop the slide decks, and I can share it in the chat and share it afterwards for you all to take home. Now I want to open the floor for any questions or anything that's come up while you've done your renewals. Or I can also go back and we could watch the video, or, this could be a time to see if there's anything. Yeah.
So you talk about activities that are in the calendar year.
Yeah.
Calendar year usually starts January 1st and December 31st. However, the renewal period for this program, you have to have everything in by November something. So that leaves out the whole month of December and part of November.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems to me that your activity period starts sometime in November and goes to the next November, and that's your reporting period. But I don't know, that's the question I have. So, and I bring this up because my community tried to do a burn permit seminar in December purposely, because that's when the burn season starts. It doesn't make any sense to try to do it earlier because you can't. If you do it later, you start getting into issues with the holidays, and then it's too wet to burn, or
Yeah. Yeah. So usually the NFPA works on their calendar year, but again, like you can include what was done in December, just because that's within, you can add to your application.
Yeah.
Or it's like an action that you can. Yeah, that's true. So Yeah.
If, as we complete the application, the renewal, is there some way we can submit it early so that it can be reviewed? Because we don't want to, wait till the last minute, find out that they reject something, we have to fix something. How does that review process work? Who do we send it to? Or do we just formally submit it?
Yeah. So usually it's throughout November up to November 21st. And you can submit it early, but in the past, if you submit it in, say, July, then they're probably going to send it back to you because that's a little too early. I think they opened the renewal application around October, around this time or early October. Yeah, usually they NFPA will open it in sometime in October and then until that 21st.
Okay, does it make sense for us to submit it prior to the 21st so that we can have it reviewed and correct things by the 21st?
Yeah.
You'll have it figured out, right? That we
Yeah.
can definitely check that for you. That's a specific question we've not been asked before.
Yeah.
The certification actually goes to the end of the year. So if you get, which I have before gotten, oops, you messed up. And it's past November 21st. They say, get it back to me within a few weeks, please, which I did. And they said, okay, yeah, everything is now good. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Here's your cert.
Yeah.
There wasn't any problem with it. And the second reiteration was past the end date, but they knew it was in process. They knew it was working, so they just didn't drop my association because I was late. The original application was on time, but they just worked through it.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be any problem.
Okay. That's a good point.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Last year, it said, it noted when the action plan and the assessment due. Going into the portal now. It say, which you would help know what years it was due. But for some reason, I looked like mad, why was I seeing that, but it's not there. So I'm surprised that they dropped that information.
So the question was for the action plans that the renewal information or when you need to submit it wasn't in the portal?
Correct.
Okay. So for that one, I'll have to see.
Yeah, we're doing on the 3-year and 5-year.
Yeah.
Last year indicated when those were due.
Yeah, I'll have to check with the NFPA to see what changes they're making to their website and if that's something that they've just implemented or how to figure that out, since that could be kind of confusing. We have some questions in the chat as well. We recently received notification that there's a new regional coordinator. That will be Shelly Redden from CAL FIRE. And I can share that information too. Oh wait, that's from on the CAL FIRE end. Yeah, because from a conversation with other CAL FIRE people who are in charge of NFPA on the CAL FIRE side, they usually wait until after November 21st to then start kind of approving those. They kind of sit down and everyone goes through those and tries to get it done within their time frame. But right now it's changed in the past. It's Shelly Redden for CAL FIRE and that's approving those. And then beyond that, it's the NFPA team.
So I have a question. So assuming that you do get your renewal in, what's the turnaround time before they notify you that you've been approved, or if there is something that you have to adjust or rewrite? Is
I
that,
think that fluctuates.
pardon?
Yeah, I think that's fluctuated in the past, just because of the size of the teams throughout at Cal Fire. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah,
It just really depends, and if yours is one of the first on.
on the pile. Yeah.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah. So I see a comment here too. It says, I formally submitted a month ago and they got back to me on any issues. So I guess when the renewal time opens, I don't know why they haven't been clear on when they do open that renewal for you to do. I think you could do it throughout the year, but it's recommended closer to the date of November 21st, just to have the most accurate information on that application.
A caution on that. 2 years ago, we were taken off the out of the country. 3 months. Right, submitted it, thinking I was gonna be the fifth or something.
Yeah.
I got back the day before Christmas or whatever, a slew of emails.
Ooh.
Now I guess it was. Chast's not gonna be, I haven't been responding. I was. Third world country.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful. If they're gonna change the form, which is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the whole thing was just flat rejected, right? We're now here to really start to extract the new form.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was said in the room was that someone had gone out for travel, they submitted their application around October 5th, and then came back to a lot of emails to double check. I think it was the form, one of the forms had completely changed. So,
I have a question on that. From the fire safety point of view, we are not a Firewise community. We do, Jennifer and our president, Richard Bates, attend the regional meetings that the NFA has on the program itself, the updates and the changes. But we don't necessarily see if you're notified that there's been a form change. That would have to come through you to us. Could you all sort of keep your eyes out, and if there's something you think we should be aware of to get out to our larger population, that would be really helpful. Because we don't necessarily see those until the question comes up from people like you, or reviewing, comparing the annual renewals, if there are changes on the documents that they're posting. So if you see anything, please let us know, and we'll follow up on it, and we'll be able to keep it, current on the information. So you all are very helpful in this. Appreciate it.
on that, there was another comment in the chat that last year a group had submitted in early November. There was one formatting / template issue. Then they resubmitted in about a week and they got approved within a few days. And then there was another comment that I was told that they don't start reviewing until December 1st, but it sounds like those people who were submitted early, I've heard back already. Another comment, double check with your fire district for your 3-year action plan renewal is due. They can usually help. Yeah.
And the Fire Safety Council does have a list of when you were all acknowledged, so we have that date. So from the end of that year, which would be the beginning of the first year, and then we can count years for you. So if you're stymied, give us a call, and if we don't have the answers, take it farther. We should be able to guide you when and which one out.
Yeah. And there's not really, or to address the question in the chat, to clarify, is there someone to unofficially submit to for review prior to final submission? And I would say sort of no, you could ask us as many questions as you'd like about, the process that you're at, but to kind of unofficially submit to, it'd be kind of a larger workload for us to go through all kind of 50 or so. Yeah.
If you have questions, get a hold of the fire district, that you immediately go over and see.
Yeah. So in the room, it was said that looking towards the fire districts, they should be able to help. Someone said to give us a call at what number? Someone, was that us?
Oh,
Or-
for the general public to get in touch with the fire safety council?
You can do info at, for the,
Prefer to go to info at, or to, if it's specifically for the Firewise, either Richard Bates, actually Jennifer, for you first. I would say that would be the best. Reach out. to her. She'll make sure that it gets to the right person. I guess. Don't ask me.
No phone number though, but
I don't know, it's a private phone number we don't have. You can call, if you do call Cal Fire offices where we hold our monthly meetings, their secretary is very good about giving me that information, but I would have to do the same thing and reach out to Jennifer. So if you have Jennifer's email, really the best way to do that.
yeah. So in the room, Pam said that, you know, our phone numbers tend to be our private phone numbers, so you could, but we prefer maybe info@firesafemonterey.org, or you can reach out to me directly at genv.ffcmc@gmail.com, and I could get your question forwarded to whoever is best fit to answer it. How do you get to these monthly meetings? So I will add you, if you registered through the Zoom link, I will add you to our mailing list, and I'll send out any notification for future events like Firewise 101 to join that. There's a question on navigation. What is the difference between continue versus save and close? So save and close would be if you want to save your progress in the application and then close it completely. Continuing would just be going on to the next portion of it, not necessarily saving it and closing it. Yeah. Is there anywhere in the slideshow that you all would like to go back to or kind of review to take away? Or is there any comments that have been helpful in the past when filling out renewals? It seems like people have filled them out before.
I got a question on the renewal reaction time. There's a place where there's a little box that says to check whether I have reviewed the state standards. Where do I go to review the state standards?
Yeah. So yeah. There was a question in the room about the check mark on the action plan about reviewing the state standards. So this would be this question. So has it been phased in? And the state standards are just the Public Resource Code 4291. And as I see here, it would be that Public Resource Code. So that's state law of defensible space.
we just Google that or what?
Yeah.
Cal's, Cal legislature website, and you
Look
can
at
get
it right
into the California Code of Regulation. It's not just Public Resource Code, PRC, is also California Code of Regulations that has some of that in there, and the Health and Safety Code also has some of that in there, and I'll be quite excited to work with them, and they're just you can go on California website also and get some of the information. But Cal legislature, you can get all the codes and everything.
Yeah. So you can access it, the Public Resource Code online. I just looked it up really quickly and got this page. I see Joanne had got on camera if she wanted to ask a question.
I do have a question. When we're submitting or resubmitting our 3-year plan as part of just as our renewal, we're not needing to change the dates yet in the, the header for each of the 3 years. Where for us, we were recognized in 23. So we're not going to change those dates at all. We're just going to submit that whole thing the way it looks right now, and we will renew with an updated plan next year, correct?
Yes. I see yes in the room as well. Or yes. So wait, can you give me a summary of what the entire question was? Sorry, I was looking back at this.
So
Yeah.
when we're doing our 3-year, when we're doing our renewal, there's a thing there where you can just use the 3-year plan that you have because it's not required. So what I want to
Right.
know is we don't change those dates yet to reflect any new dates. We wait till next year and we start with 26.
No, that's correct.
No, yeah, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Continue.
I
So
couldn't
that
find my
answers your
raised hand
question.
thing.
Yeah, Joanne, I think Jennifer did mention that, but.
I just wanted to clarify.
If you don't have any
Yeah.
changes to the 3-year action plan, just go with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we did last year. I just want to make sure that's
Continue.
right.
Just
Okay.
keep going.
Thank you. Repeat, repeat, repeat.
Yeah. Thanks for your question, Joanne.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Our Firewise community is a small HOA. And in the past, everyone in the HOA has participated. This year, a couple have decided not to participate anymore. My question is anybody include members in their Firewise community that are not participating? The reason I ask that is my understanding is that the HOA across the street from us, which is much larger, has hundreds of homeowners. They do allow everybody to be Firewise basically certified, even if they're not participating.
I think that's
My
not,
Yeah.
community,
I think that's the way it is.
we have some people in our community. Very. They're not getting it. But my community also hires, we have on staff, 2 maintenance / landscaping / partners. And so they work full-time, they're hired full-time. So when you look at the 63, so we have that 63 hours. Well, in the maintenance / gardening portion of the 2 individuals that work, that's probably 60% of their workload. So I can take that 60% hours times 2, I get that many hours, and then when you divide it by 63 condominiums, we're, into the 20, 30, 40 hours per. So if you put in 5 hours, you're still, and there's 1 or 2 people that didn't put any hours in, you need that X amount of hours. You've met those hours.
Yeah, that's not,
Meet the hours for the community, then you're fine.
yeah, that's not really the gist of what I was asking. But we have more than enough hours and more than enough. So what I'm curious about, do people that are not participating, do they get the benefit of being Firewise certified?
Of course they do.
Why?
Because you put that.
So the way that question is usually asked to us is there are discounts. How the California Fair Plan gives a discount if you are in a Firewise community. And some of the other insurance entities.
All insurance
They're
entities.
required to do it. They're required to do it. However, this has come up within the communities themselves. We have one Firewise community in Aromas, the Ranch Sea District, has over 700 or close to 700 people, and not everyone participates. 700 properties, yes, and not everyone actively participates. So, and I am not going to weigh in on whether I believe this is the right thing or the wrong thing to do. But since the NFPA does not have a firm position on this, what they do is for the properties to participate, they give them the certificate. The other members who do not get a certificate unless they put in time. Is that right or wrong? But it is a way to control it. So those communities can't take, those people who do not participate cannot take that certificate to their insurance company and show that they are legitimately accepted in field fires. I think that's, I'm great. As I said, I wasn't going to comment on how I feel about that. But that's one way how they do it. Some of the communities are smaller and have 100% participation. It's a moot point. But that
by individual home.
You know,
it is, but if you don't have a certificate to show to your insurance company, you may not get the discount. That is one.
Originally, they were participating, they wouldn't, but again, we've got several homeowners in our community that are late 90s that have 102 who's a homeowner. And it's just like, it's done you.
My question is this. Yeah, but my understanding is that in this organization, twice a year, my understanding, sends out an electronic thing to all the major insurance companies, telling them who's in a Firewise community. So it doesn't matter whether you give them a Firewise certification or not. They give to their insurance company. The insurance companies are already receiving it, so they are.
No, we put one up, in the common area, enclosed block. They can take a picture if they want, but a lot of people want that. And if they're, it's like, a lot of times when I give it to them, if there's any handouts, because then that also goes into the education portion of it. I can handouts with the things, especially with the 0 to 5 now, that's. And I'm just getting beat up on that.
yeah.
Thank you. Well, I like you because that's what I do.
Jennifer, it appears you skipped
Yeah.
over, Catherine Melham, you skipped over my question about
Oh, sorry.
navigating. I've already gone poking around on the NFPA Renewals website. And what is the difference between the green button to the far right, continue, versus the save and close button? And I heard from some other members in my committee,
Yeah.
oh, make sure you save. Don't hit any other button. Well, those are the only
I
two.
see. Yeah. So the continuing just to go on to the next page, and then saving and closing would be just saving where you're at and exiting out of the application. So that makes it clear. And Joanne, I think I saw you come off camera as well. Sorry, there was a bigger discussion in the room. I'm sorry about the audio issues as well. Next week, we will, I hope, use the owl if we can and see how we could get that fixed. And any notes from today, I'll also compile. Hopefully that'll be easier to take in if it's written out. Anything I might have missed, so.
My
Go
my only comment was, and a lot of it was kind of Morse code what I was hearing, but
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I mean, it's just feedback for next time.
Yeah,
My comment is I only give that certificate to people who give me their hours, and everyone who has asked me, because I have neighbors asking all the time, I need to get that certificate because my insurance company requires it. They're having to show their certificate. Even if
Yeah.
the zip code says you're in a Firewise community or whatever, they're having to prove that they are actually in a community, and it has to be the current year because the year changes on that certificate every time, and you have to be a member in good standing that year. So there is a little bit of control there on who gets to use
Yeah.
them, and actually everybody does benefit because their neighbors are cleaning up their yards and doing what they can to protect the neighborhood, and hopefully by leading by example, some of these people who don't participate will eventually. That's my hope, but kind of Pollyanna about that. But yeah, I just hold on to it until and if they say, hey, I need this, I'm gonna say, hey, I need you to do something. clean up, do something, mow your yard, something. And it seems to work. It's a little heavy-handed, but got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, thanks, Joanne. And I see Brindy as well have her hand raised. Thanks.
I just wanted to mention, we did our 3-year annual update last year. And one of the suggestions from Monterey County Regional Fire District, because there was a confusion about always having to do new things in the 3-year plan. One of the suggestions they had, you do not reference anything in code 4291, because as you stated, Jennifer, that's law. People are supposed to do that. So we used a lot of language about continue extensive fuel load removal along roads, increase ladder fuel removal and shaded fuel breaks. So things that show that you're still on top of it, but you're not just doing what's sort of deceptively in the checklist of that renewal. That's what gets confusing, because you're already supposed to be doing all that defensible space stuff. And we were approved without any problem. So it was fine, but that was really good suggestion to not refer to the Public Resource Code 4291, any language in there. So it's sort of, your action plan is all the stuff you're doing above and beyond that code. So I hope that helps folks. Thank you.
It's Pam, and I have a question for you on that. We have one board member who will point out to all of us that she uses a word I can't use in public, but it grows back. So can you reference the fact that you are maintaining? You certainly can use maintaining.
Maintaining is a great word. Yes.
Yeah.
Maintaining, improving, extending. Yes.
Enlarging, extending. Which brings a quick point I want to make is know that when they talk about your 0 to 5, your 5 to 30 and 30 to 100, 100 feet is the minimum requirement that you need to do. But if you have property that's 150 feet, go all the way. Think about this as minimum is what they think is the most important to do, but if there's more and you can do it, do address it.
And we did state that actually, because properties are so big in Tehama and many owners are required to clear 200 feet from structures. So we did talk about that. And again, since that's not in the code, that's something that you can bring up and point to. And man, does that add to your cubic yards of fuel removal.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Brindy.
I have a question about what is everybody doing to educate, because we have a small homeowners group, like 17 homes, and it's all the same people that have been here all these years, except for a new person right here. And they're not really interested in going to meetings every year to hear the same thing. They already know what they're supposed to do. They choose whether they're going to do it or not, but they don't want to keep listening to it. So what would count as education?
You have a newsletter?
Not really, they're pretty small.
You have
I mean, I can email them.
Yeah, it doesn't
Just
seem-
a reminder with that. Things to do.
And then like a couple of, like I said, there was recently came across a couple of new flyers that I really like
Oh,
on that one was Firewise that goes over the 0 to 5, 5 to 30, 32, 100 feet. It was a really nice one. I gave it to put into handouts, and I put it up in our little key house or at the mail room that we have. I put it up there and read it.
where do I get them?
You know, I think you can get through the Firewise website, because that's where did oh, you know what? Yeah. Fires booth at the
Here's the rest of your paper. Thank you.
There are a number
You
of.
just listen.
Jennifer and I spent a couple website.
Uh-huh.
Things like that. One of the things that we have heard about, and from a number of the Firewise communities who've been around for more than 3 years, we call it Firewise burnout. And what it is you've done everything you should be doing. How do you continue to engage your community? Or how do you bring in people who have sort of slacked off or not done the work? How do you bring them back in? There is a whole list of, and a number of the fire safe councils and some of the larger Firewise communities who have their own websites have published helpful ideas on how to, you know, a donut day kind of thing, how to get people back involved, how to get the young kids involved. And I actually have 2 sheets we could send out to everybody. It's not quite polished yet, and I actually stole it from another fire safe council. Plagiarism runs rampant amongst all of us because it's, you know, it's difficult to continue to stay fresh. And so we're working on that, but there are a number of things that you can do. And though they don't have to go to the meetings, but what we're looking for and what we are reaching out to some of our Firewise communities on doing for us is giving us a short blurb on the success that they've had during the year. Who's been involved? How did you engage people? What have you accomplished? What are you looking to accomplish? What's still out there that you need to do? Because that information we are sharing around with our Firewise communities so that they can solve some of these problems. Is it Plumas County that had the list? I think it is. For the success stories that they published.
Yeah, they had their newsletter.
Plumas County has just put out, and we're using the model that they have to encourage our fire communities to reporting on what you're doing, and we're going to publish it as with you know, their permission, of course. And it's really quite interesting to see the different stages where they are and how they're still engaging. So if you get on the internet, take a look at Plumas County Fire Safe Council. Plumas County is a neighbor of ours, not too far away, a neighbor of Tahoe as well, and very active. And take a look and see their success stories. But it'll give you some ideas on how to re-engage some of your members who said, "Oh, I've done that, been there, not this year." Remind them by next year everything's going to grow more, and yes, we need to be
Thanks, Pam. There was a question on what is the action plan completion checklist, and I added a comment that it was part of when filling out that section in the renewal or application. Yeah, I think that was the last question. And also on the point of newsletters or recommended things, we did a short Word document newsletter template if you would like to use that moving forward. And we have a tutorial up on our YouTube as well if you want to use it. It's just editing it in Word and adding your own photos. We try to make it as accessible as possible, and then you can just download that, add it as an attachment to your email list, send it out, and that should count as a activity to engage members. So I hope that helps. So if anyone has used it, let me know, and I'd love to see it. Oh yeah,
So.
yeah, Clubhouse.
Documents are giving me a little.
Oh yeah.
My little handout / information area.
Yeah.
And then anytime that there's something that's actually new, when they go to our monthly board meetings, I'll just say, hey, there's some new stuff over there. Or if it's something like, if they ever get off their 0 to 5 actually published, that will be, I will hand that out to every individual. So we have, I can't put it in the mailboxes, but we also we have cuttables, and everybody will get.
Yeah.
Facing is say 0 to 5 is law, but it's not enacted, and they are still adjusting it, and they could take another 2 to 3 years to get to that.
December 31st, supposed to be done.
Well, we'll see. Let's be hopeful. But there's still a lot of questions, and there, in many of the communities, Firewise communities, the plantings have been there for a long time. And it is really wrenching to take out grandfather's Christmas tree because it's overhanging the house now, and we totally understand that. But the value of your lives, your homes, your property, and the environment far exceed the value of one bush, community bush, buy another one, put it someplace else. So it's really important to understand that, and we have the full support of all of the fire authorities on clearing that 0 to 5. And just driving through this neighborhood, you can see what a challenge that is. Chief Sargenti and I were speaking of that just before the meeting. What a challenge it is for those communities to understand. Is that a high-risk community? Maybe not. But I also attended a meeting in North County where the fire chief there, Assistant Chief Jessica Cortez, spoke about a house fire in an HOA that by the time they got there, half of the building was fully engulfed. And they had to stop trying to protect it because it's so close to the house next to it. The radiant heat was going to set off the second house, and that would start the domino effect. So it's really important when you look at this, look at some of the things that you can do on your action plan and to protect your properties. One of the first things is remove the wooden fence that goes from your house to the gate or the yard. Make sure that is totally a non-flammable area. And you can see Jennifer's got a great video of, is it IBHS that did it?
Yeah, it's not on this one, but tomorrow, the Pacific Grove event, that's what we'll mostly be talking about, Zone 0. And maybe that could be a topic for another. Yeah, the IBHS has a great video on a wildfire prepared home, they call it, with the defensible space, or the Zone 0 that has it versus a home that doesn't. And it's just very, stark difference, very impactful image on that. But I'll be talking about that.
Speaking of fence going to the house, wooden fences going to the house. But we've had instances where the insurance companies have it was in actually written form letters to homeowners saying you would need to remove this and replace it with material, and you have
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
The biggest,
Oh, yeah.
what I felt,
Sorry.
this summer I did a part-time job at the city of Monterey, doing next spaces. I did over 1,000 of them. And I tell people, this is what the rules are. It said, and even if the rules change with the 0 to 5 when it becomes law, that law is going to give you up to 3 years to comply. That you write that, but working on the 0 to 5 is how you put that. But if your insurance company says tomorrow thou shalt do this and have it done, that you don't get that 3 years to get that in. So you have to understand that we're going to work with the fires, but the insurance companies are not going to work with you. They're going to tell you what they want and when they want it.
They give you a hard deadline, you better meet it, and guess what? When you need to do that, and you go start looking around for a contractor, it may take you a while. You have to get it. A wood shape.
So,
and so do our partners.
so I do want to back up what Bob is saying and what Mark is saying about the insurance. What we are seeing, point of view of the Fire Safety Council, is that yes, these rules and regulations are in place. It's the insurance company that is going to push it into happening. And for those examples, they can wave that magic stick and say, we will cancel you. And
Yeah.
then to try and get your insurance back at that point is really going to be something. The new, and I'm not that familiar with this, maybe someone else in the room is, the AB 888, the Assembly Bill 888 was just signed off by Governor Newsom, this October 10th, I think, is making allowances for assistance with home charging, which your name, I'll turn it over.
You know, that was so, could you go back for?
Oh, yeah. I just need to
There was
plug
the
it in.
2025 Zone Zero Community Public Workshops and Materials, October 23rd workshop. In
Yep.
that, if you go down to the Zone Zero summary and rules place, that has all the wording of the current, what they are going to try to adopt. And it has the changes from what was in there just a month or two ago. Again, it's more reading than I want to do, but I'm almost through with it. But that gives you a pretty good idea of what they're trying to pass. There's actually some very good changes in there that were the tree changes from what was proposed just even 6 months ago. So it gives you, if you're trying to work towards, this gives you a good base to get there right now. But it's not the final who, what, when, where, why. And even when the final one does get put out there, I'll guarantee you there'll be lawsuits. Anyway.
This would be good to
And the
have
other
sent
thing-
to us.
Yeah, I
I
could
would-
share it
I
out to the
would
group
really
as
like
well.
to have that, and I could share it with the people in my neighborhood.
Yeah, so this is all kind of what they're developing right now. I think next year's when, so kind of that caveat if you do share it. But I think I will wrap up here. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite long. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you all for joining. And I'll have the recording out to the group if you signed up. And again, next week we'll be hosting for October 29th, but in Castroville. That's kind of farther out, but if you'd like to join on Zoom as well, we'll have hopefully the owl to have better audio connection. So thank you all for joining. And yeah, and I'll send the link as well if you registered for the Zoom for the Zone Zero.
What will you cover next